Guys, I have some very great news. So it's confirmed now that we are getting the Cleric in Ashes of Creation. And today we are going to have a closer look at what we know so far about the Cleric. And it's always interesting when we get like a new class or race in Ashes of Creation. So yeah, let's have a look at the Cleric.
Hey, what up, boys? So, no intro today because it is once again that time of the month where I actually have some content and don't need to pad out the video with my ballsack and She-Hulk level CGI. And besides, no need to pad when, as they promised, we received another banger of a live stream.
Yeah.
Our topics today were, of course, the Cleric Showcase, the Day and Night Cycle, and Steven Sharif gameplay that makes me want to rip my ballsack off. And I'm excited to break all this down for you today in as concise and easy to digest way as possible. But before we get into that, Patreon.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a certain way when I already saw Steven play on the archer and with the bow. It looked so freaking cool, and the skills and all. Like, I was really hyped. And I feel like today I'm gonna be hyped as well about the Cleric.
Friends and I would love for you to grab yourself a Coca-Cola, because after this live stream, it leaves us with just one more showcase to round off this year. And if today was anything to go by, I think next month is going to put our hype levels in some sort of state of copium overdose.
Yeah,
now,
big overdose.
With all that bollocks out of the way, let's begin. Ciao.
お前はもう死んでいる。何?
Nani?
So as usual, we got our reminders to go through, which is fairly short this month as we actually have an extended 40-minute gameplay segment to look forward to. The cosmetic pack swap over, the content creator meme, the YouTube comment, but it's all very mild stuff that I'm not going to bore you with. Additionally, the studio update was all but forgotten about,
This
so
armor
it
looks
seems
nice,
we're not going to
right?
be hearing a peep from that for a while. They did want to give a shout out to their Extra Life live stream where they raised $77,000. This money will go towards their charity treating over 32 million kids. Intrepid have hosted 5 Extra Life live streams now, and they happen every year around the same time. If you want to get involved with our community, the highlights for it are up here in the top corner, revealing some very interesting lore for what was shown in today's live stream, elaborating on the long-term implications for how the story of this world is laid out in the upcoming Alpha 2. Which brings us on to the main attraction. Now, as I mentioned, today's showcase is over 40 minutes of group gameplay, so I highly recommend you go check out the actual full 40-minute playthrough, because I simply cannot fit all the details into one 5-minute segment. Today we were blessed with Steven Sharif and 2 developers, Keenan and Trad. We saw the gameplay from Steven's perspective, showcase.
Like, what I really like about Ashes of Creation as well, like, just look at the background, like the whole world, the way it's designed. It feels like a game that's like so fun to also go out and explore. This is just like how I felt back in the day when Skyrim was first released and I got the game and I played it for the first time. Like, there's this big world, you have some random rocks, there's maybe some sort of dungeon or cave with like hostile monsters or bandits or something. I actually feel like in Ashes of Creation you're gonna have the same kind of experience. Like, exploration is going to play a big part, and they already said that, the way they also changed the weather, now we have like seasons and all that. And yeah, the Cleric, what I'm thinking is it's going to be a lot like a Paladin class, but hey, let's see.
Facing some basic cleric spells and class mechanics on a female Vec, accompanied by Trad, acting as the group's front line on the fighter Archetype, playing on the familiar Pyre male we've seen many times before, and finally, Keenan gracing us with some ranger gameplay on the female Empyrean. The first thing you'll notice as this showcase begins is that we're in a whole new zone, the Alpine Forest, looking over the Riverlands, and there's a very good reason for that, because this showcase today came with some super interesting night cycle and exploration mechanics that we'll elaborate on later when they eventually show them off. We'll jump straight into the gameplay, as the bulk of this showcase was highlighting the group synergies between the classes and exploring this new zone. As you can see on the hotbar, the Cleric featured 4 spells. Chains of Restraint, an AoE damage over time
They're
with
not all,
an
I
added
think.
stagger effect, a basic AoE healing spell, a chain healing spell, and a single target heal which doubles up as a single target smite. The most interesting part of this Cleric showcase was the reveal of its core class mechanic.
Wow.
Conviction, an additional
That looked
class
cool.
resource generated through some abilities use. It is consumed to increase the potency of other spells.
What's this?
Creates a very active, aggressive healing playstyle, which, as a monk main from World of Warcraft, is something I'm very excited about. An example of Convictions working in action is from their Cleansing Wave ability, bouncing between more players depending on how much conviction they have. Additionally, we got a quick showcase of 2 new weapons today, the one-handed mason shield and the two-handed staff. Although there isn't much to talk about specifically with them in this video, we got some interesting information later in the live stream that we can use to create border.
Like what I love about this kind of support kind of classes, especially in PvP, I'm not sure how it will be with the Cleric in PvP, but I find it myself so fun to play this. So in Elder Scrolls Online, for example, in the PvP environment, I played for a very, very long time. This was like probably like a half year. I mained a Magicka Templar, and one that was like sort of built a bit tanky, kind of like we see here. I was also messing around with like one-hand weapon and shield and stuff, and I managed to find a build that does decent DPS, but is actually a support build, one that helps my group and dashes out still some good DPS on the side. So if we nuke like another group, I can add to the DPS, but I'm still considered the main healer, the main support, and I would like cleanse my whole group and everything, provide healing, but I wouldn't just stand still and just use my skills for healing purely. I would have a mix between I do DPS and I heal and support. And I hope you can do the same thing with like the Cleric. So far it looks like you do have the kind of more offensive abilities as well and stuff. And I think it's really, really fun. Like I don't mind playing a healer in actually MMOs because it's really, really fun to me as well. And yeah, by the way guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content.
Line pointless videos under the pretense of discussion and feedback for Intrepid. When Stephen and his team cleared the top of the overlook of zombies and skinwalkers, he sped up time to give us a nice look of their night cycle and constellation mechanic. As you can see, the nighttime looks absolutely fantastic, really showing off the skills Intrepid's art team have to wield Unreal Engine 5's power. It retains the massively multiplayer feel,
by the way,
clearly indicating its nighttime through subtle hue changes and ambience. As for these constellations, Stephen confirmed they do have a lot of gameplay implications, and although only minor information was revealed during today's live stream, I get the feeling this is going to be a core gameplay mechanic people use to navigate this massively multiplayer world, and massively it certainly is, as this whole graveyard zone is much, much larger than your average area in an MMORPG. Continuing to travel through the graveyard, we got a really good example of the class synergies working. The fighter set them up with a stagger effect, and Stephen's Chains of Restraint stunned them, creating some really interesting teamwork-based gameplay. This is actually a mechanic that exists currently in Guild Wars 2, however in a very primitive form compared to this. It appears once again Intrepid are building upon the base combat mechanics available in Guild Wars 2 to truly create a next-generation hybrid combat system. Before continuing on, the team sat and discussed the sitting and rest mechanics, asking for feedback on this particular system, which we will elaborate on in a future video. He also implied that there will be some items you could use alongside a campfire or bedding mechanic, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an expanded version of what will
this campfire thingy do? You regenerate faster or get like resources back faster? Or is it for like some travel options or something? Like I'm really wondering what else they're gonna add to this game. So far everything they've added has been very impressive and very cool and very fun. And I wonder also like how the time affects mobs too. Are some mobs actually stronger at night or during daytime and stuff? Like what if certain environments or daytimes or night times are actually buffing or nerfing certain mobs where they are like harder to like kill or easier to kill? I think that's actually so cool, because the environment affects what's going on, right?
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an
like
expanded
that.
version of what New World introduced with their campfires. Deep into the graveyard, clearing multiple zones full of zombies, continuing
have
their
a campfire
search
in the
for other
graveyard, though.
constellations. I want to bring attention to the sheer size of it. It's probably a good indication of how multiple groups can
Archer's so cool
coexist
too.
inside a zone without needing to engage in aggressive PvP constantly. It feels like because the older style MMORPGs were so, well, old, they never took into account how to create open-world PvP that hosts zones large enough for players to coexist, something Steven and the team appear to be putting great care into. Approaching the bridge and taking another rest next to the river before heading across, they
like the thing is in modern day MMOs, you have a lot of, and there was like a video we made this also on this channel, that a lot of players are also single player players, and they just come for like casual gameplay. They play an MMO like an RPG game and stuff, and now someone could say, hey, why are they just not playing an RPG game? Why do they still play an MMO? Because something is appealing to them. Maybe it's the environment, the story, the look, or they just have like maybe one or two friends that got them into the game. And what's like important is you need to find a balance between the competitive players and those that are like really into PvP, and between the casual players, those single player players, right? So they can go around, farm stuff, do some trading, just do the like regular PvE main quest line and stuff, maybe farm reputation or something if that's going to exist, maybe unlock mounts. Like there are a lot of casual players in MMOs. I see them every day, and I actually believe that at least 70%, could be even higher, of an MMO in 2022 is casual players. Like the amount of hardcore players or those that like PvP all the time is actually very, very little. I see this in all MMOs. Like I give an example. Like there's one guy I've met in World of Warcraft, and he was like farming for a mount, and what was his item level? It was like, I think 200 something. And I saw him like 1 week later, and his item level was still 200 something, and I was already 10 plus item levels higher. So I like people that constantly play, but they don't play to progress a lot, right? They just like casual stuff, check out zones, exploration. So you need to give them an environment too. And if a game has a higher population, the finances of the company are also higher, and they have more for the competitive players to offer as well, because they can further develop the game. But if nobody plays the game, they end up broke, and they have to like develop another game or just cancel their whole project. So I really hope Ashes of Creation will have a higher player base, like a very high population, because this will give this game longevity, and the game will live on, and that's important.
They find, fight, and dispatch another new mob, the Grave Golem. Overall, this showcase was pretty damn impressive and very indicative of a typical old-school MMORPG adventure. They ended this segment with some notes and questions that I'll use now to pretty much outline the plans for the channel over the next 3 weeks. Before we conclude though, Unreal Engine 5.1, a topic we covered on the channel last week, so that's up in the top corner if you want to check out the details on that, was confirmed to be implemented into the development of Ashes of Creation and should be live by the end of January.
Okay, it's not flashy,
because the bulk of this segment was mostly talking about the gameplay technical mechanics, it was far too niche and vague, so I think I'll reserve these topics to elaborate in a video in a few days. However, before moving on, they did mention the balance during this segment, explaining that Alpha 2 and especially the pre-Alpha showcase isn't indicative of what the game's end balance will be, confirming Ashes of Creation is aiming to be on the higher end of difficulty, and it genuinely made my balls tingle to hear that.
I mean, that's good.
They rounded the stream off with some concept art, starting off building upon what they showed last month with the basic weapons and how they progress as you level up. Very little details are known currently, but I have a feeling these particular weapons are possibly Empyrean or Cleric variants, so whether we'll see each of these base weapons eventually progress through specific aesthetics makes me very excited for the artisan progression in Ashes of Creation. Next, they showed off another Goblin variant, the Goblin Slaver, which was teased to encroach upon the humans.
You know what I like a lot here, guys? And like the weapons, they look kind of simple, right? but at the same time they are like a little bit fleshed out, right? And what I don't like in MMOs, if you have like weapons that just constantly glow and look like super overpowered, like you can one-shot everything, and like I think they, like, what's also important when it comes to like game design, you need to have something that looks impressive and cool and that you want to carry around and wear, right? But if you make stuff look like it's like too OP, like let's say you have some weapon that's like constantly burning and it has freaking dragon wings on it and stuff, like it's nice to have this kind of fancy weapon. But I think going the more sort of realistic route that they are doing here, with like a bit more simple looking but still a little fleshed out, like here we see some sort of runes right on this mace here, same with like the shield, how it's like glowing there. I think it's good because they didn't overdo it and they didn't underdo it, right? Like it's not too simple but it's not too complex, right, from the design. And I think that's really, really cool. Because like if you have your weapon glow too much and it's like looking like, I don't know, like a burning sword or something, it's cool at first, but I feel like also in combat it's like a little bit weird and distracting, isn't it? Because you should focus more on like the skills and what's like happening around you than looking at, oh, my sword looks so nice, it's constantly glowing, OMG. Oh, like and yeah, the mobs, like this graveyard golem, I want to also point out, like they really have some really nice art team at Intrepid Studios. Like whoever is behind the models and the art with everything, like I see here with the weapons, how they find like the nice middle, not overdoing it in design, not underdoing it. Like they have some very, very talented art team for sure.
The artisan progression in Ashes of
And
Creation.
look at the next mob.
They showed off another goblin
Not
variant,
overdone,
the Goblin
not underdone.
Slaver,
Very
which was
good.
teased to encroach upon the human starting area in Alpha 2. Stephen continued to explain how these slavers, depending on the state of the world, may be present in the starting zone, and instead of killing the player characters, they instead knock them out unconscious and force them to escape their prisons deep within their camps. A pretty interesting idea, and one that really oozes that old school sense of adventure where anything could happen if you let your guard down. They followed this up with the Zombie Scholar, a mage variant of the zombies that we saw during the showcase, and although they look great in terms of quality, sadly I can't really stall out this script for much longer talking about zombies. So let's move on to the Winternith. A very early creature, and one that has heavy ties into the world mechanics of this game, as it's rumored the tears of the Winternith are used as this world's type of gunpowder. Pretty damn interesting, and it sends my mind into a spiral of wonder and excitement as to how a rare mythical creature that holds a rare material could be implemented into a massively multiplayer world. Finally, we got a pretty cool lore drop with this final cultist model. Stephen drew attention to his tattoos and posed the question, if we were one of the first people on Vera, where did these humanoids come from? Well, us as the player characters are actually coming into the world a few months after the first expeditions. So these humanoid bandits and cultists are part of them first expeditions who turned independent or pledged allegiance to more powerful entities already inhabiting the barren world of Vera. Creatures like the Ancients.
I like this kind of Assassin's Creed vibes I get from this one. Like they look cool. Can you actually get their outfit? Like I would love to have this kind of outfit. Like if this is like some costume you can unlock or something, that would be so cool. Like imagine playing on a mage or something, or like a archer, and you wear this. Because you could go like when you look at this outfit, you could either be like some sort of assassin kind of player, but you could also maybe mix in a bit of magic or something here, right? Like that looks really nice.
Inhabiting the barren world of Vera, creatures Assassin's like the Ancients. And that's pretty much everything from this month's live stream. Another really exciting one and well worth the slight delay. Now, as long as they don't delay the next one by a week, they never have done, so chances are low. We only have a 3-week wait until the next one. So I'll see you guys again for another breakdown in 3 weeks' time, whilst I head out the rest of this month with pointless ramblings about clerics and healing.
But Narc, I just got back from an 18-hour session farming boars and embers adrift. I swear, it's been 8 months and this game still hasn't shown more than 3 people on the screen.
What the heck?
And to that I say, if you think the game can't handle 2 people on the screen at once, then
Then what?
You're high on copium.
Yo, interesting. But I think the Cleric looks interesting. Like, I like how you can have like the chain here, how you can cleanse your allies, can like power them up and stuff. And this one skill that puts like chains on the mobs and like stuns them and stuff. Like, I feel like in PvP, Clerics are going to be very, very important. And you want to have at least one in each like dungeon run, like raids and stuff. Like, it's actually cool that we have a Templar sort of class. I consider also grinding one up. I'm actually not sure, like, a part of me really wants to play a mage. Maybe like a Vec mage or something. And another part of me really wants the archer, because I think it looks freaking cool. It has some nice fantasy about it. But I also like the cleric now. So I don't know, like those three appeal the most to me so far. Like the warrior kind of classes, like they are also nice, but I would probably go either for like a mage or cleric or something, maybe, for my personal playthrough. But yeah, let's see. Definitely interesting. I can't wait for like more updates. So far, every update that they release, like that they say, like be it the new race, be it like the weathers, be it like the new weapons, the new class, like everything has been really, really good so far for the game. Same with the Unreal Engine update. It actually shocked me that they even went this way, because like the performance, like I'm not even sure when the game comes out if my computer is able to run the game. Like, I need to definitely upgrade a bit here probably. But yeah, let's see what the system requirements will be. But yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about the Cleric and what is so far your favorite archetype, like your favorite class that you want to play. Let me know, and I can't wait for a new update. I hope it comes soon. Maybe in 2-3 weeks we're gonna be here again with a new video, hopefully, and we will see what else they're gonna release and add to the game. I wish everyone a wonderful day. Until next time.